Hey, everybody, this is Lloyd Malech in my Ask Lloyd series. And it's been a while. I'm glad to be back here. And I got a special guest who will be answering or helping discuss something that a lot of my clients have been bringing up from time to time during the divorce process. As you all know, divorce is not a happy time, but the happy part is that you could start a life anew. And I get a lot of questions from my clients about what can I do to get back into the dating field? How could I have a drama-free relationship? And how do I navigate dating after a lot of these people 20 years or longer not being out there? So I happened to find a friend of mine, a very well poised person to answer this question. This is the matchmaker of Bethesda, or maybe the whole county, or maybe the whole state. With the internet, she might be the whole world at this point. But I have Michelle Jacoby, and before I get into our discussion, let's tell you a little bit about her. She is a matchmaker, a dating and relationship specialist. I suppose that's the more formal way of describing it. She has her company called the DC. It's called DC Matchmaking, and it's a boutique firm. And most of her dating clients are, I believe, of the male persuasion. And she also is a coach, and I think she has a lot of clientele who are of the female persuasion. So she is also a founder of an organization called the Matchmakers Alliance, which is an organization of many matchmakers. So she'll be up on all of the latest and greatest news in this particular niche area. And she has a boot camp called Smart Dating Boot Camp, and that is for single women nationwide. So that's pretty cool too. And another thing that's really, really neat is that she has a #1 international bestseller, and it's called Never Waste Time on the Wrong Man Again. So let me introduce you all to Michelle Jacoby. Hi, Michelle.
That was nice of you. Hi, I'm happy to be here, Lloyd. It's nice
Well,
to
happy
be
to
on your
have
show.
met you. Yeah, I'm happy to have met you. I'm glad that you're here. It's great that we have certain areas that overlap. I'm at the end of a relationship, and you're at the beginning of one. So I think that brings that's a nice little synergy here that we got. So I guess we'll just dive into it. As I was saying, my clients are really interested in, is of going back into the field. I mean, not everybody's ready right away, and that's understandable. But these questions do come up. I work closely with my clients. They ask me about this, and I give them my professional opinion on dating, which is not anything as good as yours, but I really don't know. So I figured let's ask somebody who knows. And what would be like going from any relationship to a new relationship? What is the mindset that you expect or people have going into this the dating field for the first time in a while?
Well, I think some people are really nervous, you know.
Hmm.
Some people are very excited. Some people are so ready
Hmm.
after many, many years of feeling disconnected or unappreciated or unhappy to find someone and have a fulfilling relationship. So I think everyone's coming from a different place. But what I do know is that most people who've used services like yours have gone through a divorce. They've probably not enjoyed the divorce process. It's a tough process. And you spend time rebuilding your life so that you can find some balance and peace and happiness. And what I think is so important is to make sure that when you dive into modern dating, which is very different than probably the way many of your clients dated or met their former spouse, that you feel prepared and that you have a plan so that you can enjoy the process as opposed to having anxiety, making mistakes, and choosing someone who's not a good fit for you because you want to have, success this time and end up in a really beautiful relationship.
And yeah, so what are some of the pitfalls that when people are coming back in, when what mistakes are they making? Repeating the same cycles of dysfunction or something like that? What do you say? What have you noticed?
Okay, there's a lot of mistakes, and I even made some of them when I was single many, many years ago. So I learned from experience. The first thing is that you have to make sure you're actually ready. A lot of people want to just dive back in without doing their work. You've got to make sure that you're happy alone, that life feels good, that you're not trying to fill a void. Because if you're trying to fill, it's like say you're financially stressed out, you might be attracted to someone who creates financial stability for you, but they're not a good fit. Or say you really miss feeling like a family. So there's a potential partner who, has kids and you feel like the Brady Bunch, but they're not a fit. So you want to make sure that you really meet your own needs first so that you can choose a partner for the right reasons. So I think the first mistake that people make is jumping in too quickly. If you need to see a therapist, if you need to get your family life with your children in order so that everyone's doing okay, I suggest really finding that balance and happiness first, and that can take a while, or sometimes it's very quick. The next mistake is to go out into the dating world and tell everyone your story. If you
Okay.
need to talk about your ex, or if you need to talk about your divorce on a date, you shouldn't be on a date. It's just not a good look. And it's also not the kind of behavior that's going to attract someone who's actually healthy and emotion and relationship ready. People who are in a good place, they want to look forward, they don't want to look backward. So I see a lot of people talking about their past relationships, saying negative things about their spouse. There's actually some science that shows that when you talk negatively about someone, you're actually perceived more negatively.
Oh, I'm sure I could totally
Yeah.
see that
Yeah.
projection. That
100%. Like we subconsciously just assume that this person has those negative traits that we're putting on the ex. So it's really, really interesting. I can keep going. People don't really have a plan. Um, they really need to think about what didn't work for me in my marriage. In what ways were my needs not fulfilled and not met? And so one of the things that I do when I work with my clients is we talk a lot about like, what are my needs? And, what are my preferences? There are two different things. Preferences are things like, I want to be with a man who's tall, or I want to be with someone who lives within an hour of me, or, I want to date someone who is of this race. Those are preferences. A need is, I need to be with someone who's emotionally healthy, who has high self-esteem, or, I need to be with someone who is financially stable, who will not jeopardize my financial security, or I need to be with someone who I can communicate with and, have, really, I feel safe to be myself. And there's a million different, um, maybe not a million, there's a lot of work that needs to go into being ready. And I also think you have to think about your boundaries. What behaviors in your relationship didn't work for you? So I have my clients create something called a protective contract where we talk about what are the behaviors you will not accept from a partner. And I call those red flags behaviors. When you see those red flags, how do you advocate for yourself and how do you figure out who you should invest time in and who you shouldn't? So what I find is a lot of people jump in too early. They tell everyone their story. They're all about their divorce. You're so much more than that. There's so many things that you love and that make you happy, and you don't need to be telling your story. And then I think it's important to really know what you need versus what you want to make sure you get your needs met, and also to have strong boundaries so that you end up in a relationship that works with someone who treats you beautifully, and you have a much higher odds of success this time.
Well, I've heard from other people that they've gone out on dates, they've met somebody online, and the the person finds out that they're going through a divorce because my clients, I'm dealing with them on a regular basis. Well, the divorce process is still ongoing. Uh, I've been told that they're treated like damaged goods. No one wants to touch these uh, people because they're toxic because they're still in the middle of that. Is there
Well,
any?
it's really what energy you project. I mean, are you projecting toxicity, anger? Are you still in the middle of the tough part of the divorce, or have you passed that and are in a good place looking forward and bringing a higher vibration and positive energy to dating, right? Like attracts like. I
Right.
mean, it's also interesting that, someone who's older and never been married online is actually looked at like that's a red flag. So the
Right.
fact that you've been in a relationship, I always tell my clients, someone who's been divorced has put in the work, has put a lot of thought into how can I be a better partner? What are the mistakes that I made in choosing my partner? So I actually think that dating someone who's divorced um, is an advantage in many ways. And some people are concerned about dating someone who's separated and not divorced yet. What I tell my clients to do is if someone reaches out to them online who's separated, to ask them, are you past the hard part yet?
Hmm.
How long have you been separated? And are you past the hard part yet? Because what people really want to know is, are you in a place to be in a healthy relationship where you can fully commit, be present, and be positive.
And yeah, and that's the one thing. So if someone's just going out there, uh, do they typically try to get Mr. or Mrs. Right or Mr. or Miss right away, or are they, you know, meeting a bunch of people trying to see what fits? It's, trying on different bunch of hats, see what
Yeah, like so everybody's different. I've worked with clients who've gotten divorced, go out there and meet someone quickly, and end up in a relationship, and that's it. I've also met people who, when they go through a divorce, they want to date casually. They want to have fun. They're not ready for a serious relationship yet. Those aren't the people that I work with.
sure,
I
I see
tend to
that.
work with people who are looking for a committed relationship. There's nothing wrong with going out there and playing the field and having some fun, you know. But what I will say is that when you decide that you're ready to find a partner, and you're ready to do it right this time, one of the things that I recommend, which is very contrary to modern dating culture, is to wait to have sex until you're in a relationship. You know, you may have been in a marriage where you weren't having sex for a really long time and you're ready for it. Great, go sow your wild oats. But when you're ready to find a partner, I recommend, to both men and women, that you invest in getting to know someone on an emotional level first and decide to focus on that person exclusively before you get physical. This is actually really impactful and really important. And I hear from both men and women that it's a game changer. And someone told me this week, interestingly enough, that she kind of thought that she was supposed to have sex early on because, you want to gauge if someone's a good fit for you in that way. But my feeling is that it's so much smarter to wait, to take things slowly, to develop a real emotional connection. And then when there's a deeper emotional connection, if things aren't aligning sexually, you talk it out and you figure it out. And it's a big part of dating. So I think it's important to talk about.
Right. I remember hearing something out there. I don't know if it was on a sitcom or about a 5 date rule or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I have a friend who is a matchmaker. She has a 12-date rule. There's a
Okay.
5-date rule. I don't believe that that doesn't work in terms of what I teach. I really think you have to know someone well enough to want to invest in getting to know them and without the distraction of dating other people, and that could take 7 or 8 dates, or it could take 2 or 3 months, depends on how much time you spend together. But you want to know that someone is genuinely invested in getting to know you because they really like you as a person. We want to know they're showing up because they like you as a person, not because they're having sex.
Right. Right.
So, and I also think also, by the way, for women, women and men approach sex very differently. Um, Women, when they have sex, become very attached and
Mhm.
immediately have higher expectations, right? As soon as that happens, I want you to treat me like I'm your girlfriend. I want to hear from you consistently. I want you to tell me how you feel. And I'm not speaking for every single woman,
Sure.
but this is what I see. Whereas men, so women usually like to fall in love and then have sex. Men will have sex and then fall in love. I've heard that from people.
Yeah, I guess there's certain biological
But I
impulse,
think,
I
right,
suppose,
right.
that are
So I
programmed.
think you don't want to have expectations too soon that aren't realistic. If you're just getting to know someone, you don't have to see them every minute. They don't have to act like they're your partner. And I think that when you take that out of the experience in the early weeks, it takes all the pressure off men and women to just have fun together. A really good marriage, a really good relationship is based on friendship. I think you should develop that first.
Yeah, well, I'll say this and this is only to you and nobody else, so don't listen to everybody else out there. My if, my general rule of thumb is if you're not going to have children with your next post-divorce partner, and this is really, empty nesters, 20-year marriages, don't get married. It
Yeah, I
ruins
don't,
everything. It
we
ruins
talked about
everything.
that. We talked about this. I don't agree with you.
Okay.
No, because, well, first of all, you never know what you're going to want until you want it. You don't
Sure.
know what your heart's going to want until you meet this person and you're in love. You might have this idea in your mind after just having gone through a difficult divorce that I don't ever want to get married again, and that's fine. But I wouldn't advertise that when you're dating because um, there may be someone who really likes the idea of getting married again and they will disqualify you and they won't date you. So
I'm sure,
I
right?
feel like if you want a serious relationship, you should put that out there, if you're committed to finding a partner. And then the two of you later down the road can decide what works for you.
Sure. I will say this. I want to make this one comment. As I told you, I have a lot of clients who are still going through the divorce, and it's amazing when certain clients have gone out and started dating. They ask me, "Is it all right?" I'm like, "Well, yeah. Just don't bring your date around the children for unless it's serious." But uh, there is definitely a certain level of happiness that I see in those clients. So I think that's nice to see that part of their lives fulfilled, at least their social life, their
Yeah.
romantic life being
Can we
fulfilled.
talk about the children thing?
Well, the children thing is certainly one of those things that I suppose my concern, of course, is how's it going to affect the divorce, but how do you see it as far as
Yeah, so I was a single mom. I got
Mhm.
divorced in my 30s and I had three kids and later adopted on my own. So I was single and dating with four children. So
Wow.
for the people who are listening to this and who are dating with children, my feeling is that of course you should not have a revolving door of dates. Your kids don't have to meet everyone you're going out with. But I also don't think it's wise to wait 6 months or a year to expose your children to the person you're dating. And I can tell you why from personal experience. I was dating someone who, after a couple of months, I became exclusive with. And then after a month or so of being exclusive, I realized that he didn't connect with my young son.
Oh, I see.
And then I got to meet his friends and I got to see the way he parented. And it wasn't in a way that I could respect and live with. And so, even though in many ways he was a good fit for me, he really was not a good fit for my children and my son in particular. So, I ended the relationship while I was in the midst of having a really good time with a really nice human being. So, I feel like, when someone starts to be special and stand out, that's when I think that the kids should be introduced. You also want to try on someone once you're in a relationship, you know, not they're a package deal if they have children. So you
Oh,
want to,
yeah.
does this work for our family? you know? And so if you wait a year to incorporate the kids into a relationship, you may have just wasted a year of your life with a really good person who's not a fit for your children.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, what I want to do is I want to just basically conclude with any of your last thoughts. If you want to give some advice to people who are looking at my website, which are probably people who are interested in divorce, what's the one thing you would say to them at this point?
Well, going through divorce, as someone who's gone through a divorce, it's a really difficult time because you are changing. Your whole life is changing. How you perceive yourself, how others perceive you, your friend groups are going to change. The way you spend your time, who you spend your time with is going to change. It's a big adjustment. But as someone who's gone through it and I've been happily married to my second husband for over 10 years now, I want to tell you that it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to take everything you've learned along the way and make a really beautiful choice and find a partner who's a wonderful fit for you. There's a lot of happiness on the other side of divorce. So,
That's for
so
sure.
yeah,
That's
so I want your listeners to feel really hopeful that
yeah.
when you're ready, um, and and when you're ready to sort of dive into the dating pool, I want to say also that dating in modern times is a little bit of a crazy experience. It's important to have some strategies and a plan because with all of the apps and with all of the online platforms, there's this illusion of choice. And dating is not easy, and it's really important to have a plan. So I'd love to, if I can, give a gift to your audience to
Okay.
make it a lot easier for them to navigate dating. And, my book is a book for women, but I've had a lot of my male clients read it.
I'll
And
read it.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
seriously,
I'm happy.
a lot of my male clients, even though I wrote it for women, have said that there's a lot in there that's really helped them. And I'm going to pull it up and show it to you guys. Um, it's called Never Waste Time on the Wrong Man Again. Sorry, guys, but there is stuff in here for you too. And if you go to michellesbook.com, and I have two L's in my name, michellesbook.com, you'll be able to download it for free.
All right.
Then you'll get some emails from me. If you don't want them, you can unsubscribe. But I really do think that that book will help you navigate dating in a way that makes it so much easier and less stressful. Because after everything you've gone through in a divorce, you just want to have fun dating. It should be fun and it should be fruitful. It shouldn't be frustrating.
Well, that is awesome. I'm going to see if my producers could put on a little link over there, maybe on our or at least
Yeah.
put it up there on the screen for our listeners. And I want to thank you so much, Michelle. I could talk to you for another, well, I don't know how long, but I could
I
a
know
lot
we could
longer.
talk all day. I have so much to share, but
Oh,
this was a good start. This was a good
yeah.
start because
Well, then, yeah,
you really want to make sure that when you're getting started, you're ready, and you have a positive attitude, and that you really, the most important thing is look forward and be positive. Bring the positive energy. Don't say negative things on your dates because you'll attract negative people.
that's
Leave all the negativity behind and look towards the beautiful things that are coming in the future for you.
that is definitely a secret worth sharing. So we should all learn that. Well, thank you very much. And to my listeners and viewers, it was nice having this opportunity to talk to you all. And I look forward to our next broadcast of the Ask Lloyd series. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, everybody. Have a great day.